because my nephew had a Halloween party and I had to dress up and I had to shave my beard. We're gonna move right on to the last of the stuff that we had for the Subaru. I just got it back from getting a tune, so I took it up to Kinetic Motorsports in New Hampshire. Shout out to those guys, they were very helpful, very, very kind. They did an awesome job with the car. They also gave it a good shakedown, a couple of things I can fix in the future to keep it a safe and good daily. But I had a lot of things on the list that I wanted to pick up. First of all, I wanted HIDs. I'm only going to buy them from a trusted source. There are kits available on Amazon, maybe eBay, that I wouldn't really trust. The retrofit source I love, but they keep pushing out the dates that the H7 bulbs, the HID bulbs, are available. So it's been 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't been able to get them. There's another site I used, Rally Sport Direct. Those guys are great too. Pushed out. I cannot get H7 HID bulbs right now. So what I did instead was I went and got the Silver Star Ultras, which is what I would typically run in a car that I didn't have projectors. They're great. They seem to have really good down-road vision, especially at night. Makes it easier to see. Whatever bulbs are in here they're probably okay. They're not great. They're definitely not great. So I'm gonna put new bulbs in these guys, and I'm also going to aim the headlights. So start with bulbs. Next up, I got the Torque Solutions short shifter. I also got mounts for the car, for the transmission for when you're shifting. I don't think I'm gonna put them in. This car had a clutch done not long before I got it. It looks like they were replaced with OEM inserts, so they're good enough. I don't really feel like feeling all the vibrations of the transmission as I'm driving through the shifter anyway. So probably just gonna do the short shifter today. I also, as a surprise thing I didn't have on the list, but I got a 5-speed STI knob. So STIs never came with 5 speeds, but they do seem to produce Subaru factory STI 5-speed knobs. So when I saw that, I picked it up. I thought it'd be a fun little addition to the car. Also, afterwards, another thing that's on the list, but I might keep my eyes peeled for a used STI wheel. They do make them it's essentially the same wheel, it's just a different center where the airbag is. It'd be kind of fun to throw in there to match the knob. And then finally, one of my favorite things to get for a car, and that is monster mats. I know this is all basic stuff, we're not doing crazy installs, but a set of OEM monster mats, so you know that's a brand name, but all weather mats make a huge difference for me in a car. So I've got a set of 4 here, 2 for the rear and 2 for the front. So this shouldn't be bad, you know, knock wood. Pretty easy day to kind of button up the last things I wanted to do with the car. And then later this week I have an inspection appointment, and that'll be it. The daily will be ready to go. We'll take it on a really fun road, kind of shake it down and feel out all the different changes I've done to it since I bought it. So let's get started. One thing I've noticed with these mats, as you could see as I was installing it, is that they don't seem to sit dead flat against the floor. So I don't know if they need broken in. I might just let my jack sit on each side. What we can see is they seem to be molded to roughly the correct shape, and maybe it was different model to model, but the actual plastic is so heavy duty that they're not kind of sitting in the orientation against the ground that you would expect. So yeah, what I'll do is probably put something heavy in there, see if it'll kind of break it in enough that it sits the way it should. Okay, so as you can see here, same problem as on the other side. It also took a little bit of working just to drill out the hole where the bottom of the mat kind of clips into the carpet. It doesn't quite fit perfectly, but it seems to fit well enough to hold it in place, which will be nice. But same sort of thing you can see up top there, that the mat is so stiff, I'm gonna have to put something on there to weigh it down and just bend it. I could possibly heat it up too, but I'd rather avoid using any heat in there. So I'm gonna toss the other ones in the back, and then we'll get started on the headlight stuff.
So you can see some serious corrosion here. So I'm gonna take a brush and clean some of this up because it's pretty nasty. That's good though, we at least have access to do the bulbs. So we're gonna throw those in. Not perfect, but better. There's ways to do this with baking soda that's a bit safer. I just wanted to quickly clean it up a little bit to make sure it was doing okay. I just wiped down the battery and the terminals with a cloth. Like, I'm not gonna go crazy, but I wanted to clean it up while I was in there and doing that. So let's get back to it when I get back to actually installing the lights. Pay attention to the orientation of the bulb. I'm going to set it down and confirm just that I have the right bulb. I always do that too, but flat side down, clips go up and over it and onto the body of the car once you've plugged it in. So it's just easier to do it that way. It's hard usually to see down in there, so I usually try to keep an eye on the orientation of a bulb as I take it out. Everything looks good. I think we're good to go. next up is going to be shift knob. You know, the throw's not that bad, it's just a little long when you think about, like, you know, second to fifth. I'm going to be doing that, but fourth to fifth. Just try and take some of the throw out of that. Shouldn't be too bad. I haven't seen any easy DIYs for it, but I was messing around. I pulled up the plastic. I found that this whole piece comes off here. So I think if I take off the shift knob, just kind of pull everything up, I should be able to get to what I need. Right. That there. Cigarette lighter. So I just freed this. I did it by threading the knob back on, the shift knob, and putting my feet as hard as I could on the floor and pulling up with my entire body as hard as I could. That did lead to me smashing my head up here into the lights, but other than that, not too bad. It is definitely the hardest part of this install, is getting this out of the lobe that the little area that the circle here is sitting in for the shifter, that little semicircle it sits in. So I need to press out this bushing and put it into my new shifter. So we'll be working on next. So here for comparison, you can see the old and new. Same with the lights. I like to make sure that the parts look like they match up and they look fine. So it looks like these are, this is the right part. This ball is going to sit down. I'm going to have to get it back in the same way I got the other one out, which was a lot of fun. But before that, this little metal sleeve in here, and this sits in this bushing here. So that didn't come with a new one. If I would have thought about it, I would have ordered one, but I should be able to use 2 different sockets and my press, my bench, to press that out and into a bigger socket. So I'm going to get started on that now. So rather than trying to press these out, you actually pull them out with a flat head, which I realized as I was starting to press it that it was not one solid piece. So a lot easier to get out. I may have messed that bushing up a little. If I feel like I can feel slop on one side because of it, then I'll pull it out and replace it, but not overly worried about it right now. It should still function enough. All right, let's get everything switched over. All right. So after messing around for a minute, the shoe trick actually did do it. I tried with just a cloth to get it and broke the glass face, which I thought was plastic face. I thought that might happen. It is what it is. I have a new knob. I hate to break anything if I don't need to, but it happens. So we are gonna thread this back together, put the actual shift fork here back through, thread it all back together, and then should be all set. German spec, torque spec, Guden tight, that's my go-to. Yeah, see if we feel like definitely still have gears. Still hit reverse. Feels pretty good. Let's get an actual shift knob on there and see how that goes. Don't like that I did on this job and did not mean to was I fatigued this leather up here a little bit. I really didn't mean to do that. I was trying to be careful, but sometimes shit happens. If you're doing it, try to be a little more careful than I was. All right, that's in. Not bad. Alright, I'm going to the actual shift patterns of an adhesive, which again, not a high-end knob, not the cheapest knob, and produced by Subaru, so surprisingly, you know, a little lower quality than I would have thought. I didn't spend a fortune on it, but I thought it would have been a little bit nicer than that. So I'm going to put that on there and then hook up the battery and see how it looks. Definitely a shift reduction here, not anything super dramatic, but a little bit less. A little bit lower. Very good. Not bad. All right, so that is most of the stuff done. I think we're pretty much wrapped. It is tuned, and we'll do a drive video when I take it up into Vermont. I definitely like the tune that I got. I brought it, like I mentioned, to that local shop, Kinetic. They did just a basic base map for it with the intake. It's nothing extravagant. It doesn't feel super fast or anything. It did even out the torque curve. I always felt like it was for like a small turbo normal car. I felt like it had like turbo lag, which is weird. So this really feels like it evened out the torque curve, which is nice. Short shifter. So we did that. All done. I like the quality of that piece. It wasn't that expensive. It was like 80 bucks. And you can go all the way from like 60 to 250. There's a really big range there. The floor mats, they obviously not a big deal. I like the quality of them, and they're definitely factory Subaru, but they seem to need to break in to really fit well, which is kind of odd. HIDs, like I said, we couldn't get, so instead we did nicer headlight beams. I like to get those Sylvania, like essentially the highest one you can get. And it really does seem to get better vision out of that. And then all that's left then is to inspect. So I have an appointment to do that later this week, so I'm just going to cross it off, and we are going to take this to a fun road up in Vermont and really push it and see if we feel, you know, the difference. It's been a really fun car to work on. I really enjoyed it. You know, once we're done with that drive, I'll kind of wrap up and I'll have my daily. All right, thank you guys for watching.
Next time, we'll take the Subaru up to Vermont to find some fun roads. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like and subscribe. It really helped me out.